This episode will be dedicated to the Los Angeles-based jazz group known as the Don Brown Collective. And if you'd like to hear more, please stick around. This is all gas, no trash. My name's Adam, and welcome back to the program, and welcome to a brand new episode. I think this is going to be a fun episode for me personally because I have personally met Don Brown himself a few different times over the years. Not that I know him on a deeply personal level, but enough so that I felt an obligation to share his music, his debut single with his collaborators, because of the fact that he has put so much time into drumming and playing for different bands and whatnot that we'll go into further. But you know, I think somebody like this deserves a spotlight, and that's why I'm taking the time to make this episode to talk about him. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the lore or introduction of Don Brown himself, and we'll share all kinds of fun facts. To be perfectly fair, I'm not exactly sure how these events unfolded. I'm kind of estimating it happened in 2019. In which order they happened, I'm not entirely sure. I just remember them happening. But I want to say the first time that I remember him performing was with an artist named August Eve, and she was performing at this place called the Hi-Hat in Highland Park, California. And now that place has changed its name to the Goldfish LA, and it's a whole different space now. The stage is significantly smaller, but I remember Don Brown playing with August Eve, and now she even has changed her name to Evita, and her music has, changed over the years, and that's a whole other topic. But in addition to that, at some point, I think in 2019 or possibly even 2020, Don Brown was playing an event with this artist at a coffee shop in Boyle Heights, an artist named Welfare, and even she herself has also changed her artist name from Welfare to, I believe, Danielle Espinoza. So he was drumming for her as well, and that was like the first time I think I actually met him and spoke to him briefly. And I don't think I've actually spoken to him since or anything like that. But I have kept track of his career over the years, where he eventually hopped on stage with an art. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. So in addition to playing for the two artists that I already mentioned, Evita and also Welfare / Daniel Espinoza, there was also a band that he filled in for. So there was this drummer named Brian Gazzo, who is he's played with Denzel Curry and also played, I believe, with Brenton Wood as the drummer for Brenton Wood's live band, even though he's passed away more recently. He also has his own band called the Brown Boys, in addition to drumming for a bunch of different bands in Los Angeles. But this dude was absent, or he wasn't able to play with this band called Introverted Funk. So Don Brown actually filled in on one occasion for this band called Introverted Funk, another Los Angeles-based band that is, as you would imagine, they're in the funk genre. And I do remember him performing with that band. But in addition to those three bands, he's also performed with Serpentwithfeet and also Jenevieve, whom most of you, or maybe many of you, would know. So as you would imagine, this dude has been pretty busy. And on top of that, he's also done all these local jazz events in, I believe it's like Inglewood or Compton. He has a lot of local jazz events that he would host himself, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to read the bio of his Spotify profile because I think it elaborates on it specifically. But as he started to, go on his own musical endeavors, he started the Don Brown Collective, which also afforded him the opportunity to play at Dodger Stadium in addition to the Gardena Jazz Festival. And also, even more recently, he also had the privilege of playing at the Blue Note Jazz Club in Hollywood. So certainly the good fortunes have been continuing to come with his drumming endeavors. And as such, he actually is now a Gretsch artist, the manufacturer of drums. He is now like a partner or something like that. So he's exclusively using Gretsch drum kits. So, very cool stuff to see somebody like that who has been drumming for quite some time and also gotten the recognition and the credit for everything that he's done, both, being a touring musician, in addition to the fact that he also has his own band called the Don Brown Collective, which we're going to be listening to the music. The first single is called Recess, but I do want to share a bit more about him. I actually want to read the Spotify bio because it does elaborate on some of the other things that he's done, in addition to the fact of some of the things I've already talked about. But let me go ahead and pull it up real quickly. All right, so I just pulled it up here, and I'm going to read it as is. So it is the following. The Don Brown Collective is a jazz group founded by professional drummer Don Brown. The collective was formed with the intention to highlight local musicians, expose younger demographics to jazz music, and celebrate the chemistry that exists between them as friends. In 2022, DBC, or rather Don Brown Collective, began hosting jazz nights in partnership with local and native businesses, organizations, and nonprofits to transform the live jazz experience. The collective has performed as themselves at LACMA Gardena Jazz Festival, and most recently, Blue Note LA Jazz Club. Don Brown Collective features a long, rotating roster of talented musicians, Don's friends, but mainly features a core six: Michael Isaacs on guitar, Isaac Green on bass, Ronnie Hurd on tenor sax, Tatiana Tate on trumpet, Wendell Phipps on keys, and Don Brown on drums. So that is more or less the summary of the Don Brown Collective, and I hope you found that rather intriguing to have somebody that is been an experienced musician in Los Angeles, playing in a number of bands, to finally have his own moment in the sun. I thought I owed it to him, so that's why I wanted to make this episode, and we're going to go ahead and listen to the debut single from the Don Brown Collective, a song called Recess. So we have the links available for you in the description of the podcast episode, and also the video version on YouTube. So you can listen however you wish. We'll hopefully have the song itself as one of the end cards for you to check out on YouTube if you want to stay on the same platform and wait till the end of the episode. However you want to listen, we have it for you. So let's go ahead and pull up Recess from the Don Brown Collective, and let's give it a whirl. Once again, we are listening to Recess from the Don Brown Collective, going in. All right, welcome back. That was the Don Brown Collective with their song called Recess. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Real quickly, I just want to go over the credits for the song itself. I think it's important to give the proper credits due to each person involved in this song. So let's start from the top. We have the performing artist or band, the Don Brown Collective. Composition and lyrics, Wendell Phipps and Michael Isaacs as composers. Production and engineering, we have Wendell Phipps as studio personnel, Nolan Shahid, engineer, David Darlington on mixing, and performers are, Michael Isaacs on guitar, Ronnie Hurd III, saxophone, Don Brown as percussion, Tatiana Tate as trumpet, Isaac Green as bass. So that was a very cool track. I quite enjoyed that, and for me, the music reminded me of like Hey Arnold, because that cartoon featured a lot of jazz music, and I could just imagine a character like Arnold just walking through New York and seeing all the neighborhoods of kids playing and doing different things, from like opening a fire hydrant so kids can like splash in the water and play in the streets and stuff, to walking by a basketball court. And the way I imagine each solo for the trumpet, the saxophone or the tenor sax, the piano, it's like each solo is like its own representation of like a character. And for the examples I already gave, we have people playing basketball at a basketball court. For, let's say, the tenor sax, it's like the water that's shooting out and the kids are playing with like the fire hydrant and stuff, and the piano could be like a whole different scene. So collectively, like when we get to the chorus of the music, it's like the whole city of New York in unison or in tandem, having all these little individual moments, and a character like Hey Arnold just kind of riding through town, experiencing New York, just riding his bike around. So I think it's a really awesome track, and I can't wait to hear more from the Don Brown Collective. I'm kind of ashamed that I actually haven't had the chance to go see him perform as an artist himself, and also all the members of the Don Brown Collective over the years. I've had numerous opportunities to do so, but I've never made a real effort to go see him. So I might actually have to do that now. Hopefully there's some opportunity to do that now. But yeah, I think this is a really cool project. I'm going to be keeping track of it. Hopefully there's more releases on the way. I imagine for somebody like Don Brown and all his collaborators, they're probably pretty damn busy being musicians. So maybe this is something that they revisit every so often to because of the fact that they probably do other things to keep the bills paid and everything like that. So hopefully in the near future, I will be able to see them perform and maybe record a live set so I can share on YouTube for you to check out, for people that are jazz enthusiasts. It's something I wish I knew more about. It's not to say that I don't like jazz music itself. It's just, I'm really oblivious to it, and I certainly would like to appreciate jazz music more. So here I have the Don Brown Collective to be my gateway drug to the music. And not to say I haven't, listened to jazz music in the past. I'm familiar with the heavy hitters. It's just as far as like more nuanced taste and contemporary artists, it's not really my forte. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you had your first introduction to Don Brown with this episode. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you all next time.